Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste experience on this beautiful Monday morning. Good morning. Buenos dias. It's good to be home. Thank you. Always good to be home, isn't it? It's always good to be home, not just home like in a physical place. That's beautiful too, especially when you live in a community like this. But the feeling of knowing that I never really left my home, that's a very different feeling, isn't it? Not just to believe, but to know that the kingdom of heaven or home, my true home, is within. And as we rest there, as we move inward, instead of always stretching out, trying to find and grasp and control, when we move within and simply realize that home that is always within us, that is a beautiful thing. So that is what we celebrate this week. And one of the ways that we're going to celebrate it, excuse me, this week, every session, we're going to start off with a quote from Ramana Maharishi. I've been reading a book about Ramana, and wow, I mean, what I could say, what an example of an awakened life for us to attain. However, that would not be accurate because Ramana would be an example of someone who was so untethered, meaning there was nothing left of him for us to even latch into. And maybe that's the example, that he was so free, so awake, so enlivened, that there was nothing. It was like a wisp of air. It was like a little wisp of smoke. And yet the example of that and the passion and joy found within that experience. You see, to the egoic mind, that's a loss of control. And there's nothing more frightening to the egoic mind than losing control. But losing control, at least the control that we think we have, which is not control at all, which is so limiting and small, that's the beginning. That's the first step. Just let it go. There's no reason to try and control anything because we know that love completely controls us. So we're going to talk about that, but let me begin with this quote from Ramana. He said, "The state of self-realization, as we call it, is not attaining something new or reaching some goal which is far away, but simply being that which you always are." Simply being that which you always are and which you always have been. All that is needed is that you give up your realization of the not true as true. Give up the realization or the apparent realization of the not true and just fall into the truth that is forever true. This is very similar to one of my very favorite lines in A Course in Miracles, which says, enlightenment is not a change. Nothing changes. We have this idea that someday there's going to be this bolt of lightning and I am going to be changed on a cellular personality on every level. I'm going to be different. I'm probably going to be speaking different, very quiet. I'm going to be maybe having a slight accent that no one can quite identify. I'll be different. No. I used to have a teacher that I won't mention his name because many, if not most of you know him, but we used to have a saying about him. Amber, you're going to know right away who this is. The saying was, asshole before enlightenment, asshole after enlightenment. The point is not change. The point is the realization of that which can never change. The realization, to realize. I like that word, to realize, to make real. That which is forever real. To make true that which is forever true. Or to realize those truths within us. That's the home within. So don't expect anything to change. That's what Ramana is saying. Give up the idea of change and enter into the changeless. That's who you are. You are the changeless activation of light and grace and peace and harmony for the whole universe. Whoa, that's saying something. The whole universe. How many of you have wondered or maybe tried to wrap your brain around the size of the universe? I used to do that when I was a child. I would try to imagine more and more. Like, okay, it goes further than that. No, it's further than that. No, it's further than that. Until there would be this little funny little thing that would happen in my brain, like a tickle, and you can't do it because the universe goes seemingly forever. They say that in just the observable universe, what we can see with our telescopes, there are somewhere between 200 billion to 2 trillion stars, just in what we can see. And if all of those stars, actually, no, I'm sorry, that's galaxies. That's galaxies. Think about that, 200 million galaxies. We can't even begin to wrap our mind around such so many enormous galaxies, or how far out that would be. Millions of light years away. Incredible. So think about that when you hear this next session, because what I've been doing is I've been choosing a short section from Ramana Maharishi, and then just writing whatever comes into my heart. So here we are. The universe is unfathomable. The intellectual mind could never grasp the size of such seemingly infinite space. Why then do you hesitate in realizing that the world appearing before your physical eyes is much the same, beyond the comprehension of your limited egoic mind? See, we in our limited egoic mind want to believe that I can, well, what we said before, I can control what's going on here. And it's my need to try and control or to understand all of these things that makes me believe that what I'm seeing with my physical eyes is the universe or the world. But once again, if we think about how large the universe is in terms of planets and galaxies, that it goes on beyond anything that we could ever begin to comprehend. Not even the greatest scientists can wrap their minds around just how far it might go. And when we realize that the same is true for us, that in reality, this little identity that I've claimed is this little tiny little nothing. Just like this world, if you think about it in terms of the vastness of space, is a little tiny speck, hardly seen, hardly known. So why wouldn't that be true for this perceptual mind that thinks it can perceive everything? Let me read further. You look at the world and believe that it's three-dimensional. In reality, what you perceive is only one dimension. A flat universe devoid of the real essence that defines reality. Read it one more time, then I'm going to tell you where that idea came from. You look at the world and believe that it's three-dimensional. You can see everything that's going on, in other words. In reality, you perceive only one dimension. It's very flat. It's a flat universe devoid of the real substance that defines reality. So yesterday I was at the Portland airport getting ready to get on to my flight to return here. And the flight was a little bit late, and so everyone is sitting, and I found myself looking at a man who was sitting across from me. And I caught myself judging him, judging the way he looked, thinking things like, well, if he looks like that, X, Y, and Z, then I would project out a whole variety. Anyone else ever done that? Probably just me. So I was looking at him and judging who I think he is based upon his appearance. Now, that's something that we do every day. But the difference maybe today is that we catch ourselves. We catch ourselves when we are judging another. See, that's the one dimension that I'm referring to here. I'm judging based upon this physical reference, based upon my ideas and experiences of the past, which is not happening right now, and putting him out into the future, thinking that he is probably, this and that and something else, all based upon this very limited idea or perception that I've based, rather than letting that go completely, letting all judgment go and entering into this timeless space of a vast eternity. You see, this is the mind of one like Ramana, released into the space of vast eternity. How can you judge anything when the space has opened up so completely, not just to this one flat dimension where we judge and we make determinations and we attack, or we think that we love, and yet our love is really just specialness, trying to maintain this limited view that I have of myself in the world. See, this is what I think the experience of one like Ramana or any master teacher has allowed. Something breaks. Maybe that's a good way to, something breaks. Now, that would usually be a bad thing, wouldn't it? Oh my God, something broke inside me. No, but in this sense, it's a good thing. When something breaks like this, the whole world collapses, or the world that I think I see begins to collapse, not inward, but outward. It's like a shell. What would happen if a baby chick were to want to stay inside that shell and just project its ideas of what's going on onto the inside of the shell, as if the inside of the shell is really a movie screen, and it projects its ideas onto the shell, thinking that that's the world. But what happens when suddenly that shell cracks? At first, it may seem very traumatic. Oh my God, my world is ending. My world is cracking open. How could we or that baby chick realize that no, the world is opening? You're leaving this tight little definition where you projected from your split mind all of these ideas of what you think the world is. So one like Ramana is one who cracked. I know from my own teacher, he had a spontaneous experience. There was nothing he was doing in fact, just giving up the idea of doing at all, thinking that if I do enough, X, Y, and Z. It was spontaneous with him, and it was so traumatic in the beginning. They say that he literally tried to crawl underneath the wall-to-wall carpet to get away. But finally, what happened? He just relaxed. And he just allowed. You see, at first, the perceptual mind thinks that it's going crazy. But as soon as you relax, you realize, no, I was crazy before. I'm coming into a state of sanity now. I'm no longer projecting the world that I am afraid to see or want to see onto the inside of a shell. That shell has broken open. And then you take someone like Ramana, who is then barely there. His only reality is one. There's only one. Let me read a little further. When you consider the unfathomable universe, it is easy to think of the identity that you claim as small and insignificant. In other words, the universe is so big. When you think about it that way, you realize just how small this little experience is. And yet, when you consider the nature of your life in the perceptual world, the egoic world, you perceive yourself as grandiose and deserving of all attention. This is when we are focused in on this tiny little speck of consciousness, which is really all the consciousness that exists in the universe. But I don't realize that as long as I'm inside that shell, projecting onto the screen. I think that everything is about me. Everything is about me instead of everything is about thee. It would be better, here we go. It would be better to humbly approach the altar of the real world, realizing that the dissolving of your split identity leads you to the eternal space of your real self. It is by considering the smallness of this identity that you've claimed to hide from reality that you're finally able to expand your consciousness and realize, there's that word again, realize that everything you perceive is divine. The shell needs to break before you can realize who you are, where you are, what this really is. The shell has to break. You have to break open. And yet we've been harnessing the energy of the whole universe to try and keep it together. Keep it together, whatever you do. Maybe that's the lesson. Stop trying to keep it together. Stop trying to hold it all in place. Let it break open. Let it dissolve. I promise that though you might try and crawl under the wall-to-wall carpet in the beginning, when you just relax and realize, as Julian of Norwich said, all is well, and all manner of things shall be well. When you realize that, then the real world will appear on its own. So that being said, I didn't check to see if Vicky was here, but I would love to welcome her if she is. Are you out there, Vic?
I'm right here, Brother James, always right here. Good morning and welcome home. And hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Holy Week. So I love the reference and the opening up to Ramana. That's another, just another, like a note in that song of home. And all of these notes, whether it's Jesus, Ramana, Yogananda, all of them point us to home. And, or it's Dorothy and Oz. We're just going home. And because I'm in a new environment, you know, in my life, going home is an every moment experience. It's in when we don't take for granted the environment, the physical house or the land that we seem to find ourselves in, going home is fresh, can be fresh every moment. So because many of us are opening right now, not just here in our family here, but everywhere in time, the crack has cracked, the egg is cracked, that crack in the cosmic egg, we've all been cracked, and we're not looking to the wall of finite things. We're open. And just like we affirm that awakening, we affirm that we're open and we are what home is, but we're discovering it new every day, every moment of the day. What's captured me over this past weekend, home has been those 3 little lines that you gave us, Brother James. Only love, only God, only now. And from the last few months of Wednesdays, of being quiet Wednesdays, and those 3 lines, I see that I'm being pulled every day into more and more of what home is, in terms of this quiet, this open, this receiving, this not knowing, this not caring, actually. Don't know, don't care. Just show me, I want to be at home. I want to be home all the time. And now, I'm not a great meditator. I can abide, I listen, I enjoy the presence that I know is there, that I can't always perceptually certainly see, but I know. So I go by that intuitive knowing. But lately, I've been called to really quiet, like real meditating, which is funny for me. I just spend an hour, a couple of hours meditating, but I'm being pulled into it because it feels like home. And, remember I told you about the little lights, and this is what's helped me more than anything for a prop. Remember these little lights? I know that Sharon got some. And my grandson Tommy took it apart so I can see the gizzards, the inside. It holds these little batteries. Well, that's been such a good focus for me. It's like anything can be a focus, a seed, a pod, a grain of sand. I'm a grain of sand, but I don't care. I'm a lit up grain of sand because I only want one thing. It's always comes down to that simple. I just want whatever love, light, truth, God, that experience. I don't care about anything else. I don't care how it shows up, where I land, where I find myself. It doesn't matter. And this going home all day, it's a way of being in the world, I guess, and not of the world. It's a way of staying present. It's a way of being mindful. It's the remedy to everything, the remedy to sickness, the remedy to finance, the remedy to relationship. It's so simple when you don't care about getting a remedy, but just being the answer, not even in the answer, being the answer. And what I'm finding is it requires me to be very still. I don't want to disrupt it. I want to make space for it. And I'm just being drawn into more and more quiet. But the best part is I'm liking it. I can't believe I'm just enjoying it. I'm really having fun with it. And so Saturday, I really devoted to quiet, but listening to music I never listened to. I was listening to flute sonatas and concertos and music I don't know anything about, because being home was calling me. And so following the prompts of our heart, when we really have one desire for love, for truth, whatever word sparks you, whatever word sparks, love sparks me. It sparks me because I know it's that oneness in that little abbreviated word, that I know it. There's a knowing. So I listen, and by spending more time being quiet, I'm opening up to patterns and ways of life that I don't usually do. All my patterns have been busted. Like usually I spend hours in the morning reading the lessons and going over different things and just opening up to them. Nope, this weekend, I don't know. It's like the prompt gets me up. I don't look at a lesson. I don't look at anything. Sits me down in a chair in my room, and I go to the bathroom. I have to do that. And then I just come back and I say, okay, I'm hanging out. I'm here. Right now, only love, only God, only now, right now. And I used to set a timer, 15 minutes. I'll meditate 15 minutes. And now I just stay there. I want to, and I say, I'll stay a little longer. I don't want to leave. I'll stay a little longer. And then instead of going to have coffee, I love coffee. I have a cup of coffee in the morning. I don't know. I found this bottle of eternal water. So I'm drinking eternal water. It's just funny, and it's fun because the truth of home is what life is, not life in perception, but life that flows through into perception. So it's always not about looking at it at a certain thing in a certain way and wanting to do that. It's like not knowing, don't care, don't know, but I'm home right now. Only love, only God, only now. Really, James, that has lit me on fire. And then, so yeah, Saturday, I'm listening to music all day. That was the prompt. Sunday, okay, here I am. What do I do? I'm going to breathe. So Sunday, I wake up and I'm right away out of bed, go to the bathroom, sit down, and not reading, not knowing any lessons or words or anything, and breathing. Oh, breath, only breath right now. So all day I pay attention to breathing. And then I spend the day with the kids and I'm paying attention to breathing with kids, with whatever's in front of me, kids, cooking, going to church, not, playing in the yard, whatever it is, it's just right now. Home is right now. And I'm loving being at home everywhere because it's always only love, only God, only now. So anyway, that's it, Brother James. Thank you for asking. Thank you for everything, everyone. I love you all.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much. There really is no place like home, is there? Especially when we realize that home is within us, not within the body, within the within. It's so deep that we could never, our mind can never probe such divine depths. But when we know, when we feel, and we know that place that we feel as home is ever present, ever now, and we just relax into that, just fall back, the shell breaks open. The shell breaks open on its own. So let it break. We don't have to fix anything. I love what you said, Vicky, about don't know, don't care. That's a good way to live life. It seems pretty, it seems uncaring, but the idea of not knowing, not caring, ultimately is what leads us in to grace without opposite. So, Scott, do you have something really quick you wanted to? You're okay. Okay. He gave me but he only gave me one strum, so I wasn't sure. If he goes 3 or 4, then I. The one strum means he's still thinking about it. Oh my God, you are so loved. You are so loved. Thank you so much for being here. So now let's go out and live this as we say together. Amen, 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 y punto. Have a beautiful day, everyone. See you tomorrow.